Hi, Jeremy Crow here. In this video, I wanted to cover a topic that had been requested. I got a recent request to cover the topic of the difference between Lucifer and Satan. So, I've kind of gone over this a bit here and there. I'm going to try and cover the main points in this video, though, because I haven't done a dedicated video covering this topic from my personal perspective. So I think the most important thing to understand is that Lucifer and Satan have not been considered identical until the modern folklore that kind of built up around some of the translation choices that they made in the King James Version of the Bible, as well as the storyline presented in Milton's Paradise Lost. So these two things got interpreted to end up conflating Lucifer and Satan together. But that's, like I said, it's a relatively modern development if you take into consideration the usage of those words, Lucifer and Satan. Most of the time, people haven't thought of those two things as the same. So right off the bat, the two words, the meaning of those words, right off the bat, you can see a difference. So Satan, the word Satan itself means adversary in the original Hebrew. So that is a Hebrew word, Satan, and it means adversary or ha-Satan. And the meaning of Satan has actually evolved quite a bit over time. In the original Hebrew scriptures, what a lot of people a lot of people refer to it as the Old Testament, or a lot of Christians refer to it as the Old Testament. In those scriptures, Satan was essentially an employee of God, or an agent of God, or an angel of God, and did God's bidding. Performed functions for God, and was kind of like a tester of humanity. Some people refer to Satan in the Old Testament as the accuser. So he would kind of test to see if people were as devout as they said they were, or things like that, right? But later, as you get into the Christian era, or the era in which the Christian scriptures were written, you start to see a changing role. Satan ends up becoming almost this opposite God, or this evil God, like an evil counterpart to the good God, which is very Zoroastrian, or very Mandean. It's a very dualistic way of looking at the world, where there's a good God and an evil God, and they're vying for control of the souls of humanity, or whatever. They're trying to win over the world, or the universe, the multiverse, whatever you want to call it. It's this cosmic battle between good and evil, which is so compelling to us humans. So that's what Satan later became. Lucifer, on the other hand, the word Lucifer is a Latin word, which the Romans used back in the day to refer to a celestial phenomenon in the sky. So the word Lucifer is Latin, and it literally means bringer of light, or bearer of light, or light bringer, or light bearer. So essentially it means a bringer of light is what the word Lucifer means. And as I was saying, the ancient Romans used that word Lucifer to refer to the celestial phenomenon of the morning star, what we call the morning star these days. I mean, not many people use that term anyways, but That's what it's called. And it's not a star, actually. It's the planet Venus. So before the sun rises, as the sky is starting to lighten up, but before the sun has risen, the stars will start fading and fading until finally there's just one star left in the sky that's visible. And it's not actually a star, it's the planet Venus. And when Venus is the last bright object in the sky, not including the moon, because sometimes the moon is there, but the last star-like object in the sky before the sun rises, when there's just that one, it's almost always Venus. I believe that sometimes you're going to see Jupiter or Mercury, but it's very rare. It's almost always going to be Venus. So Venus is the morning star. When all the other stars have faded from the sky and Venus is still holding out, and in a sense is kind of heralding the rising of the sun, or kind of almost calling the sun up to rise. In that sense, it's very similar to the symbolism of a rooster, where a rooster will kind of call forth the light, or call forth the light of day, announce the morning, right? The morning bird, you could call it, maybe. I don't know. The morning announcer, right? So symbolically, the rooster, as well as Venus as the morning star, kind of calls forth the light of day. And light, since time immemorial, if you go back, like, basically forever, basically forever, as far back as you can go, in basically every human civilization, light has been used as a symbol of both knowledge and awareness. So the light of truth, and awareness, lucidity, lucid has the same root as Lucifer, right? It's light. And so in a sense, you could say that symbolically, the light bringer, the bringer of light, is the force of enlightenment, or almost like the personification of an epiphany. So, or even just being aware, or mindfulness. So this is what Lucifer really means. It's that coming to awareness of truth, really, is what Lucifer means. It's that enlightenment, right? Or illumination, right? You see all these words that relate to the word light that also relate to a revelation, or increasing of conscious awareness, or of knowledge being, gained. So it's a very different energy between Satan and Lucifer. So, those are the main differences right there. And I find that that the whole concept of, the implication of this is that in Satanism, you don't have that that same drive to help people necessarily. It's more adversary, right? So it's more about challenging, it's more about rebelling and challenging, and that kind of energy to it, right? To the whole freedom from restriction. So that kind of energy comes through just if you break it down to first principles, go right down to the word itself, and then secondary, go to the traditions that have built up around that. And so Lucifer has more of a philanthropist energy to it. It's not just about rebelling. It's about gaining knowledge yourself, but it's also, if you embody that Luciferian archetype, then you become the light bringer. You share the light that you have gained or that you have obtained. You become a vehicle for that knowledge, for someone else to obtain that knowledge. You pass the torch, and you share knowledge with others, right? So there's more of that. I find that Luciferianism is less of a left-hand path as some of the other left-hand paths, such as Satanism, Setian philosophy, that kind of thing. I find that Luciferianism has that drive to share knowledge, to that philanthropic drive to try and make your mark on the world and leave it a better place than it was before, through knowledge, through awareness, through increasing the level of information or mindfulness, or encouraging it at least. So those are the main core differences. We could get further into it by exploring the various mythologies that have built up around the various satanic and Lightbringer archetypes that you have out there, as well as the kind of the trickster archetype. These all kind of tie in together, and some of them overflow. You have the Plutonian archetypes, where you have like the guardian of the underworld. You have the giver of forbidden knowledge, like the fallen angels of these stories, right? You have all of these different things, these mythologies and folklores that have built up around these archetypes that further develop the character of Satan and Lucifer over time. And you can kind of choose as a practitioner which elements to really kind of hone in on, and which ones you find that you resonate with more. So I've definitely found people who have considered themselves a Satanist for a period of time until they encountered some of the Luciferian teachings, and they're like, well, actually, I feel like I'm more of a Luciferian than a Satanist. Sometimes these differences can be kind of subtle because of the level of overlap between what we consider Luciferianism and what we consider Satanism. There's a lot of overlap there. But if you break it down right down to the root, where the actual word, words are very important in occultism and magic in general. Just think of the connection between the word spell, and how the word spell connects with words. Obviously, you spell words out with letters. But what is a spell? A spell is, a magical act, So break it down to the word itself, and that'll give you the best clue as to where the differences between Lucifer and Satan lie. And, there's no need to choose one or the other. If you're trying to figure out if you're a Luciferian or a Satanist, just relax. You don't really need to make that distinction. You don't need to label yourself one thing or another. Just, learn about it. Allow the things that make sense to you to influence you. Contemplate the things that don't make sense to you, and try and figure out, like, well, what are they talking about when they say that? You know, maybe it's just a simple misunderstanding, or maybe it's just something that I really feel is not true, you know? And so you can explore yourself through how you resonate with various different energies and mythologies. So that's a little something for you. Hopefully that answered your question. Any of you who were wondering about the difference between Lucifer and Satan, maybe I'll do another video later about the difference between Luciferianism and Satanism. You know, that's a different subject altogether. Well, not altogether, obviously, but you have to take it to another level. Like I said, you would examine the various different mythologies of the various different satanic and Luciferian archetypes. So those would be like the adversary archetypes that are in the various mythologies, and the light bringer archetypes that are in various mythologies. Like, for example, another light bearer would be Prometheus. So Lucifer and Prometheus, it's, you know, the words can almost be interchanged, you know, if you're looking at the mythology level of things. But yeah, hopefully that answered your question. We can dive into this a little deeper and the implications of those differences. But for now, hopefully that satisfied you. I have a newsletter that comes out twice a month, the first and third Friday of every month. You can go to jeremycrow.com/newsletter.html and sign up there. If you do sign up there, you'll be getting once you confirm your subscription through your email, you will get a download link for a 26-page PDF file free. And that is the complete ritual for the first initiation ceremony of the Ziggurat of Enki open source esoteric order. And yeah, check that out if you're interested in the newsletter, or if you're interested in the Ziggurat of Enki, you can get that ebook. And yeah, and also if you really like this video, you like the topics that I cover, then definitely click the subscribe button so you'll get the notifications. You know, YouTube has demonetized some of my videos, which sometimes leads to a shadow banning, which they don't always notify people when new videos are coming up. The best way is to get on the newsletter. The second best way is to subscribe through YouTube. I also have a VidMe channel, which is also a video sharing platform, and I don't run videos on those, and I put all the same videos there. So if you want to support me in a different way, you can go to VidMe and check out my videos there as well. But yeah, we'll talk to you later. See you guys.